About 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day, Katie Greifeld alongside Emily Griffeo, filling in for Romaine Bostick, and here to help take us through the closing bell. It's a global simulcast. We're joined now by Massar and Tim Stenovec. We bring together all of our various audiences to talk about, boy, what a flip-flop that we saw in Intel, really weighing down the rest of the market, Carol.
Yeah, absolutely. Although here we have a market that is kind of overall little change. We are seeing certainly some pressure on the Nasdaq 100. But you go inside the S&P 500, guys, and you've got 358 names actually higher for this session, despite the index being essentially unchanged.
Okay, index essentially unchanged. What's not unchanged today is oil. Even though Brent is up about 30% just this month, we're actually seeing it down a little bit today, $97 a barrel. So under $100 a barrel, which, Emily, is a nice, I don't know, a nice sort of benchmark to be below.
Let's go buy some barrels. Everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Keep them in the backyard in New Jersey,
Double
right?
digits, not
WTI.
Was that in New Jersey?
Down about
Yes.
just about
there, which is
2.7% to just below $90 a barrel.
Tim is determined to keep talking through all of our chatter.
About
I couldn't hear you. Were you guys saying something? I couldn't hear
No,
it.
nothing important.
Well, Tim was also mentioning the S&P 500 ending the day lower. If you look at how it ended on the week, this is the second week in a row that index is closing in the red. That's the first time that we've seen 2 weeks in a row of losses for the S&P 500 since March.
Yeah, and we were just talking with Yuri and Timmer over at Fidelity, making the point we haven't seen a new high on the S&P 500 since about June 2nd, early June. But we're still pretty close to those levels, which really speaks to the resiliency of the market outside of big tech. But take a look at the S&P 500. It managed to actually get into the green, but barely. I mean, we're pretty much talking unchanged on the S&P. A different story when you take a look at the Nasdaq. Certainly a heavy day for big tech. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, I'll mention it one more time. It's finished the day higher by about 0.5%. It's price weighted, though. What can it tell you? I don't know, but the number is green. Small caps, though, Carol, falling a little bit on this Friday.
Maybe you should name the upcoming baby Dow.
Can you imagine? I don't know if that's like a beautiful baby girl name, but I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
All right. If not, there's always the S&P 500, which, by the way, we had 364 names actually gaining ground today. 139, Katie, to the downside.
And let's take a look at the circle one last time for me. And boy, what a pretty picture. It's a really interesting picture because you have 10 sectors finishing the day in the green, led by none other than real estate, higher by 2.4% as a sector. Materials also higher, consumer staples as well. Your lone red spot is an important one. It's information technology, down about 0.9%. Really explains why, when you take a look at the index math, how these sectors are weighted, why the S&P 500 finished just about flat, even though you have all that green on the screen.
Katie, if you had to pick a sector and name the baby after a sector, which one would it be?
Utilities.
Well done, well done.
You said that so quickly. That's really weird.
She's apparently been thinking about this.
I think about it deeply.
All right, let's go to some of the individual gainers, if we may. SLB, top gainer in the S&P 500, up about 11% here, folks. Oilfield Services and Equipment Company, you know it well. Formerly Schlumberger, doesn't go by that anymore. SLB also could be a fun name, I'm just saying, Katie.
There you go.
Company reported second quarter adjusted earnings per share that beat the average analyst estimate, revenue increasing in all regions outside of the Middle East, and data center revenue. Apparently the company has been shifting to data centers, an emerging source of revenue for the company. Milius Research out. They've got a buy price target of 68. Noting that revenue, EPS, and EBITDA beat as broad-based international growth was able to offset the declines in the Middle East from the war. So that was an outperformer. Let's go to Ring Central. That one also rallying up as much as just missing the 30% gain mark intraday, but still up about 25% here at the close. Heavy volume. The software company reported second quarter results that beat expectations. They also raised their full year forecast for adjusted earnings. It is up 70% year to date, 12% of the float is short. And then one more for you, T-Mobile. This one rallying about 5.6% here. Top gainer in the Nasdaq 100, rallying even after the company reported revenue that missed analyst estimates amid modest gains in subscribers. They did disappoint Wall Street's high expectations. We saw that kind of in early trading playing out, but rallying here in the regular session. Key KeyBank Capital Markets out saying T-Mobile's service revenue growth was a mixed bag, and management's 2026 service revenue guidance remains at $77 billion. Another analyst, benchmark analyst, kind of saying that the sell-off earlier unwarranted, as the stock was already trading at a significantly discounted valuation. It was down, I think, pre-market, but again, rallying in the regular session.
Okay.
Over to you, bud.
All right, I got a lot of news here. Just starting with something that recently crossed. Paramount Skydance shares down on the day by 3.3%. The New York Times reporting just a little bit ago that Paramount and Warner merger is paused until a court rules or June of 2027. You can see right there toward the end of the trading session, shares were higher for much of the day and then took a dive after this report. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser saying a stipulation filed in federal court stops Paramount and Warner Brothers from merging until the court rules or June 1st, 2027, whichever comes first. Once again, Paramount Skydance shares, P-Sky down by 3.3%. Warner Brothers Discovery shares fell too by just about 0.7%. Also, shares of Uber declined today. This after the Financial Times reported that Waymo is exploring options to exit its Uber partnership, down 4.3%. That fell after 3 o'clock today, Wall Street time. Waymo has held internal talks about ending its current deal with Uber. Waymo has already notified Uber that it plans to enter these markets independently in January 2028 when their contract allows, the ride-hailing group said in a statement. Waymo has not ruled out a complete split, according to the people cited by the Financial Times. And finally, this was the worst performer in the S&P 500 today. It's down 9.3% at the end of the day. C.H. Robinson Worldwide, freight broker, and other freight brokers fell today. This after a jury ruled against C.H. Robinson Worldwide and 2 other defendants in a case involving a trucking accident. It boosts concerns about new sources of liability for the industry. Once again, C.H. Robinson Worldwide down about 9.3% today.
All right, let's take a quick look at the bond market, what it did on this Friday. A little bit of relief since, we did see energy prices come down a little bit, but similar to what we're seeing when it comes to Brent, we're still at pretty lofty levels across the curve here. You can see that 30-year yield well above 5%. So too is the 20-year yield. The 10-year yield trading a couple basis points below 470, and the 2-year Treasury yield certainly higher as well. But overall, a little bit of relief, probably a good thing for a lot of folks to see a quiet bond market today.
Yeah, not too shabby, right? It hasn't been that quiet for SpaceX. I feel like investors have been kind of heading for the exit door to some extent. The stock closing at $115 a share. There's some chatter on the street, Morgan Stanley in particular, analysts over there. They say the sell-off in SpaceX shares has driven the stock near a level that would imply investors are assigning no value to its AI business in particular. To be fair, Adam Jonas writing in a note to clients today, we believe the current disconnect between increasingly bearish investor sentiment and largely unchanged fundamentals creates an attractive entry point in SpaceX.
Okay.
And says if it hit $100 per share, so if it went down even further, that's when a lockup on the first batch of shares unlocks, I guess, next month. If it hits that, basically, if insiders can sell, he says at that level, investors are pricing in zero or even negative value from its AI segment.
Okay, then what happens today?
Which is the value, right?
What happens today with the launch?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, there
the
is
Starship is launching today, which gets me interested in, this was supposed to happen yesterday. It was delayed as a result of weather, which happens when it comes to rocketry. But Katie, what happens, this is the first time that this has been launched when SpaceX has been a public company. So if it happens tonight at 6:45, I guess watch after hours and maybe watch what happens on Monday.
Right.
When I know, Katie, you will not be here.
I will not be here, but I will mention, hopefully the share performance has no bearing on the launch of their rockets. But to your point, Tim, it's going to be interesting to see if sort of shares react at all to the success or otherwise of the launch, because it's certainly not trading like a rocket company necessarily. It's sort of being valued on the ambitions of Elon Musk and that orbital data center.
It's almost like it's trading like Tesla traded for years, not as a car company.
It's true. That could be the parallel that
I just want to know, Katie, once you have your baby and basketball season kicks off, are you going to be watching LeBron?
I might be. I mean, apparently he's going to be playing for Phillies. That was the surprise headline today, that LeBron James is signing with the Philadelphia not semiconductors, 76ers for his 24th NBA season. That ends an 8-year run with the LA Lakers. I don't know that much about basketball, but certainly I heard some ripples around the newsroom.
If he plays for the Philadelphia Semiconductors,
That would
might
be
you watch?
crazy.
That would be so fun.
Absolutely.
And we're no longer going to see that father-son duo in the NBA. That was the first time we had seen that in league history. So there's a little.
Will he still be playing when our kids
parental-
have kids? That's the
parental
question.
vibe.
We are going to see, though, a mother. I can't say. Can I say it?
You can, yeah, go for it.
A mother-daughter duo?
Oh yeah, we won't be playing basketball. We'll be doing something. This is my last day on the program, so my last simulcast for a while. If the audience hasn't quite picked that up yet.
Wait, you're pregnant? No, just kidding.
Surprise!
Hey, we're going to miss you a lot. We hope you will be emailing in between feedings and naps and all
Constantly.
that stuff. No, we hope you ignore us completely, enjoy, and we're going to miss you, and good luck and congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank you
Katie and
very
Joe.
much.
We are
Congrats,
excited to
Katie.
meet this baby.
Me too.
Yeah, and I think,
Pretty
yeah.
soon, God willing.
Call her Socks.
Yeah.
Little nickname.
We got a few good ones out of this 10 minutes that we spent together.
We're going to miss you. All right, be well, kiddo. All right, take care.